back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us, talking about the future of Nashville. Jeff Syracuse, he's a volunteer with Nashville Next, and they've been very involved with getting the community, I guess, comment and response on all this. And of course, Craig Owesnby with the planning department here with us. Nice to have you guys on. Appreciate it. We talked about this before on the show and just wondering step by step, and it's coming to the point where finally we're going to have that plan in place.
It's coming to a point. After 3 years, we're looking at taking it to the Planning Commission in June.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like to see it come to fruition. I hope they follow whatever we come up with. The number 737-7587 if you want to jump in, ask a question or two. Let's go to Bob. Hello, Bob.
Hello, how are we doing today? I haven't been out on the phone a long time. I think it's a good thing you're show that you're doing. But my opinion is I'm concerned with the infrastructure, having the funds and stuff like that to do what you need to do. You know, there's like transportation, there's, you know, I hate to say it and I'm hated for it, but toll booths, even if it's a small amount, that would be, you know, probably a lot of money a day.
Oh, toll booths. How about that?
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard to do.
Listen, talking about revenue makers, it does in places like around Chicago, something along those lines. But he's right. Now, you guys are concerned with that as well. We talked about it. It's just like you have this development that just keeps coming, and sometimes you forget to plan for the roads that are going to provide the access.
And, you know, there's an old saying that you can't pave your way out of congestion. Right. You know, if you've got a clogged up road, you make it wider, more people come, you have the same problem but bigger.
Okay.
So the idea is to provide alternatives. We talked about transit. We talked about, you know, possible bus lines. But one of the elements of the plan is we looked at what we call land use, transportation, and infrastructure. We have 9 goals. I'm not going to go through all of them here, but the very first goal is to ensure that new commercial and residential growth improves the quality of life for Nashvillians by supporting their vision for Nashville's future.
Okay.
And we're on page 15.
Page 15,
here,
all right.
Yeah, and essentially what we're looking at in terms of infrastructure is providing that kind of underlayment to give residents a choice of places to live, and to make it possible to live in a variety of places rather than just going along the infrastructure we have now. We have enormous needs in the billions of infrastructure that's worn out now and needs to be replaced.
Stuff you can see and can't see.
For instance, let's talk about the jail.
Yeah.
Well.
All right, the jail. We talk about like in the middle, and I know of Nashville. We've got the park behind us, Bicentennial Mall, all this other development. Sheriff Hall, of course, says, you know, we can put $80 million into the jail and fix it up, or we can move it to maybe Harding Place or something like that over near CCA. Now, I can envision all kinds of cool stuff going where the CJC is if that thing gets played. Am I right?
Location.
What?
Wonderful location.
What do you think? I mean, has that been discussed? I don't know. That would be the downtown, obviously, comment, which a lot of people don't live necessarily down there, but we all come down here for that.
The plan is not as specific as to say on this street corner this would happen.
Okay.
It's more of a general set of guidelines, but certainly the kind of development we're looking at would apply downtown, and if the jail moves, that's a big if.
Yeah.
There are a million different things that could happen there, and 999,000 of them are good.
Yeah. Now the thing about that, though, if you do that and crank it, and you put something in there that's a draw besides a draw for criminals who are housed in the jail, and that moves away, then all of a sudden you plop it.
There.
Yeah. So how do you get to it all, and the parking and everything else that comes into play? Yeah. Again, you know, that just hits me because parking, first of all, it's scant, and then when you find it, it's expensive.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so I'm just thinking about, you know, the growth as it continues everywhere. As you say, it's just crucial, I think, to address alternatives, because building more roads, it's just not going to work.
You have to provide other options for getting around.
Yeah.
And we're not, as we've sometimes been accused, trying to force people out of their cars and put them in little rabbit warrens where they can be easily controlled and so on and so forth. It's about providing options. Gas is not going to be $2 a gallon forever.
Right.
And we're not going to be the size we are forever.
Yeah.
We had a series of really interesting exercises during the earlier course of the plan where we took a big map of the county, 8 feet square, and gave people a set of stickers. Each sticker, this is 1,000 jobs, this is 5,000 people. Where would you put them? And the difference in those was just amazing. Some people put all the development out on the edges, and some built a kind of a house of cards downtown. You know. But the one thing that kept coming out, though, was the need for accessibility, the need for walkability, the need to be able to get there. And in some cases, the one private car is not the best way to do that, as you see in a lot of cities.
Right. No, problem, Jeff, with people that give up, you know, the cars, you're right, you don't want to pull them out, but I mean, your car is your independence. So this transportation option has to be almost as reliable. And the problem is with the cars now, you get stuck in traffic. So I'm willing to give up the car if it'll get me out of the headache of the traffic and be convenient.
It's somewhat of a cultural thing, for
Yeah.
sure,
Sure it is.
right?
Yeah.
Sure it is.
I think that's going to be one of the biggest challenges. Now that Nashville Next is we see the light at the end of the tunnel, now we also have the MTA-RTA master plan in motion. So I'm very hopeful that what they're going to address in this master plan for transit is not only how we're going to do it, but more of a cultural thing too.
Yeah, I wonder, like, what about riding bikes?
Yeah, you know,
Realistically.
what's interesting about our greenways, we talked about those, is that what we talked about through this process is that greenways are not just for health, you know, not just for recreation, but utilitarian also.
Yeah.
I could take a bike and get from Donaldson, hop over to Shelby Greenway, and get downtown.
Yep.
So they're becoming more utilitarian.
And see, I'm wondering about now. At the same time, though, I'm wondering about addressing bike lanes. I don't even. Do we have bike lanes?
We do.
Sure.
I guess we have some. It's just the other day I was going across Memorial Bridge, and I get the sense there are some folks that like to drive from East Nashville downtown to work. I think they have a death wish. All right, and I look at them when I'm driving up behind them, and they're sharing the bridge with me, and they have a right to be there, and I try to give them leeway, but I'm just rolling my eyes, going, boy, this is crazy. I really appreciate you riding your bike in, and you're saving it. I wish I could do it, but I look at the guy, and he's right there in the middle, kind of. It's just very dangerous.
Sure is.
And there's more people doing that. I see some of the East Nashville crowd wanting to do that, and I think that's wonderful. But
Well, the biggest
man,
issue,
someone's
though,
going to get killed.
Yeah, and we have several people at our office who, which is on 2nd Avenue, who live in East Nashville, ride bikes to work. The bigger issue is making everything more, bringing it closer in, essentially. You know, like I said, I live in Bellevue. I'm 13 miles from work. I don't have time to ride in the morning.
No,
because
you know,
13 miles of a bike for me is like half a day.
Yeah.
But if work was a mile away, very doable.
Yeah. I want to talk before we wrap things up, and we'll take more phone calls. But I want to. Do we have the graphics that we can show on the upcoming hearings? And you're saying that information's been collected over the last 3 years, but it's not too late to sound off on some of this.
Yeah, these aren't formal hearings as much as they are just an opportunity to come and talk to planners.
Just kind of say, what you got from my neck of the woods?
Yeah, we had a meeting at TSU downtown on Saturday that was really well attended, and very much the same kind of thing. Here's the plan, ask us questions, talk to us about it, discuss it, we'll hear what you have to say. And we have 2 of those tonight, one at the North Police Precinct and one at the Edmondson Pike Branch Library. And next Monday, again, 5 to 7 p.m., we have one at the Madison Police Station and one at the new and wonderful Bellevue Branch Library on Ball Road.
Now, who will be there?
We'll have planners there.
Okay.
Some of the people who actually drew up the plan will be there to answer questions about it and talk to you and explain it and hear your thoughts.
People can, and they'll be able to get copies of this and go over it, or
we do have printed guides to the plan.
guides.
Right.
Is there, aside from, has there been much pushback to this whole idea of coming up with a plan? From developers or people that say, look, I don't want people laying something else out. We just want to be free form and grow freely.
I think it's important to know that the state actually mandates that each local municipality has a general plan. So this, I think it was absolutely the right thing to do in the right timing, because it hasn't been updated since 1992. And a few things have changed since 1992. So this has been, I think, a wonderful opportunity to engage people from all across, not just Davidson County, Middle Tennessee, about how do you want your future to look.
Yeah, I think it's great state mandates.
And the people we talk to in the development community largely seem to think that you need some kind of plan. You can't just go wide open cowboy and anything goes, or you end up with Houston.
Right, oh yeah. Or Atlanta, like we've been talking about. Planning
there needs to be direction.
All right, let's go to Mary. Hi, Mary, good morning.
Hi, good morning. I have a question. I'm wondering if a plan like this has been done before, because I moved to Nashville about 12 years ago, and the growth I've seen in the past 12 years, it almost seems like it's been too much for the city, or a lot more than the city was expecting. The traffic is getting worse. A lot of people moving in to Nashville from other states. And I was wondering if this is something that has been done before, and if it has, how it does it compare to what we're going through right now. The other question is, once all of this is done, and the plan, the Nashville Next plan is approved, when how tangible it is, how we're going to start seeing all the changes.
Yeah, when we start seeing, actual development along those lines.
Starting to see it already.
Yeah, it's already well, because the city continues to grow. Is it growing within the guidelines that we kind of roughly have placed out there right now, even though it's not official policy?
Kind of generally going that direction already, yeah. That more dense development, more compact development. We're getting a lot of development zoning applications for what we call mixed use, which is a combination of residential, some retail, some office, maybe restaurants on the same block. A lot of apartment blocks with retail at ground level.
Right. All right, so it's been something, and when she said the first question was just how this compares. I mean, when you go back to the last plan, that was, what, 92, did you say?
92, right.
I mean, were there any lessons learned from that back then as we look at what we're doing here? I mean, how did we follow that plan?
Well, the biggest lesson was to get people involved.
Okay, yeah, you said they didn't do enough of that last time.
Yeah.
And because of that, there wasn't as much adherence to it?
It wasn't as well known, and it wasn't it wasn't.
No, you guys have done a good job getting it out, no question.
We're only, I can think of one other city that's done it this way. Austin has done this, Austin, Texas. But just the idea of starting with a community vision and working from there, rather than being top down and saying, here's your plan, go with it. That's something really new in the planning world. And we have a lot of other cities that have approached us and talked to us to learn from this process.
Okay, and I'm wondering, have we approached any other cities? Were there any that we admire that we look at that are comparable size? I mean, you mentioned some real big ones, but I mean, I'm trying to think of the comparable cities to us around the country, size-wise. Our market here is what, 30 TV market? I mean, you think Raleigh, North Carolina, Charlotte, maybe?
More Charlotte.
Charlotte, yeah. Austin, maybe a little smaller than us. Portland, Oregon, I mentioned that earlier. Those similar. I don't know if we've learned, what to do or not to do from any other communities. Are there any cities that you've been to that you admire that you'd like to see Nashville do more with, or along those lines?
Not that I know of.
I know Cincinnati, for instance, we looked at for years, a lot stretches along the river, and I've always thought we could do more with the river, which we are now.
Well, Cincinnati hadn't done anything with the riverfront.
Not recently, but when I've been there before, I mean, there's that great rib place overlooking the river and all that. I like the restaurants.
Yeah, but
I always wondered, why do we have 2nd Avenue on 2nd Avenue instead of 1st that would have enjoyed the riverfront? That, to me, from the day I moved here, and I love 2nd Avenue, but why the heck is it not on 1st where you got the riverfront? I don't get it. And that's where they dump their garbage.
There used to be another row of warehouses back here, too. So
maybe that's
before
why.
either of us got here.
From what I understand, they would bring their goods down the river and they would process them on 1st Avenue. That's why the buildings are long.
There probably was a rational reason as to why that's made sense.
It used to be called Market Street.
That's it. Yeah, but if you look at Cincinnati, if you go to their downtown riverfront, it's all either ballparks or interstate exits.
Yeah, you're right. Just the ballparks
we've done so much more here.
Yeah. Portland is another one that's done stuff with it, and we're doing more. Now we've got that park right outside the stadium going in there and all of that.
Yeah.
Let's take a call from Mark. Mark, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Mark, go ahead.
I was wondering if there are any specific problems or anything that are being addressed for the Antioch area in this plan.
Yes.
And Antioch, and what do you have in mind with regard to Antioch? Are you just in terms of growth or accessibility, traffic, or crime?
All of the above, honestly.
All of the above.
Well,
Gotcha.
There is such growth already happening in Antioch and still to come. And Jeff has the book in front of him. So
okay, what do we know
talk to us
about
these
Antioch,
centers.
Jeff?
There is an area of southeast Nashville there that has a Tier 1 area. So over the
What does that mean again?
Tier 1 area, it means those centers are going to be focused, coordinated investments to shape growth and support to increase transit service in the next 10 years. Yes, I'm
That means those are areas that are going to get a lot of attention.
Okay.
One of the specific things to the southeast Nashville area that's been recognized is that the lack of centralized green space. They don't necessarily have an anchor park down in that area. So there's going to be some focused attention to try to get that for the southeast Nashville area.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at Antioch and the Priest Lake area, Hamilton Church Road.
Well, as you look at that whole former Hickory Hollow crossings area, I mean,
it's had its problems.
The development's going to happen there is going to be a lot more walkable than what you're seeing now.
Okay.
I mean, you can go out by the old Hickory Hollow Mall and see tracks worn alongside the road where people, walk to work next to traffic with the cars 2 feet away, and that's got to change.
Okay,
it's got to be more walkable.
All right, that may be one of the things he was addressing there. Antioch, for a while there, before some of the transition happening at the Hickory Hollow Mall, had issues with crime.
Sure did.
Well, we all do, but they had some problems out there for a while there. And in general, I guess, and I think things have gotten better, certainly there.
Yeah.
What about... it's interesting on the priorities. I didn't see a lot, and maybe in general, because Nashville's a safe city, you don't see security or safety or crime being high on the list. And I don't mean that it's not important to people, because I know it is, but maybe they perceive that our police are doing a good job and they feel safe where they live.
Well, the reason it's not on there is we deliberately, excuse me, left it off the survey.
Oh, well, that
when we took the survey, when we issued the survey, we said, okay, safe streets, good schools, efficient government, everybody's going to say
that's
that.
a no-brainer.
So let's take those as a given, and this is everything else.
I think that's a good call on that point.
Yeah.
Now, will any of the issues address, I guess since it wasn't one of the priorities, we know that's what they're going to want. So that's going to be part of the plan, though, still, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you see more and more of the police substations pop up. As you have more dense population centers, they're going to have to add more of those, right? I mean, that's just part of it. Do you see? Do people? Do you think crime's a problem? I mean, like more for a city this size than other comparable sizes?
Certainly.
Or do you think we've got a pretty solid hold on it? It's not run rampant.
I think we're doing a really great job.
I think we are.
Overall.
I mean, for the size of it. Now, as places get bigger, like out in Providence and Mount Juliet, our police department has to grow. Sure. Because you just get more people, and with more people, it just by definition you get more crime.
Sure you do.
It's just going to happen.
There's been talk about a 10th precinct, I believe, or is it
right?
9th? 10th, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely an issue that
on Murfreesboro Road.
We have to look at and we have to consider, but overall, we're doing real well, I think, on crime.
Take a break. We will be back with one final segment with my friends and your phone calls right after this.